Like, share, subscribe. Shouts out to the Lions Den community. And don't y'all forget to subscribe to the podcast show. Link will be pinned in the top of the chat.
Just name the channel who can bang with us. I'll prove that you are smoking dust. GGB Media is top notch in this game, y'all. You failures only have yourself to blame, y'all. Ticket TV and they weapons make you suckers cry. Why don't you close your channel, crawl into a hole and die? Shout out to those who love our movement, no, we'll never flop until you get your mouth off LDBC. We are the underground outfit, y'all. We built this whole thing by ourselves, no in y'all. Independence start with self-preservation. If you can't take care of self, then how can you build a nation, y'all? Yup, we got that merch for the ladies and yes, we even got that merch for the babies and we got appliances and everything that you will need. We got some banging songs that make anemic haters bleed.
All right, man. So y'all press 2 if y'all can hear me in the comments. We're going to get right into it. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel, man. And salute to everybody who's been supporting, showing love to this channel, man. Shout out to In Motion Transport LLC with a $20 donation in the Cash App. Appreciate you. Much love, honor, and respect to you as we get to this part of the testimony, and that is the next victim. We're on the next victim, you guys. So there's another victim. We're past Cassie Ventura now. We're off Cassie, and we're on to another victim that is now testifying in this case. Now, they're not doing it in order. This is victim number 4. They're not doing it in order. And I know why they're not doing it in order, but I'm not going to say it on YouTube why they're not doing it in order. They're doing it by convenience. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And you'll find out after the case is over, maybe. But the judge says the next witness will use a pseudonym. There's to be no recording. Witness come in. And the government says, how do you wish to be identified? And she says, it's Mia, right? And so the government says, don't show this exhibit. What is it? She said, it's my passport. So they show it for the jury only. And Brian Steele says, I'd like to see it too. And so they show it to Brian Steele. This boy Brian Steele think he's a pit bull for real, bro. This dude, who the hell Brian Steele think he is? Like I said, this mofo think who he think he is. Brian Steele think he's Lexington Steele. Jake Steele. Man, listen, man. Let's get into it, man. So, anyways, the government says, show it for the jury only. Brian Steele says, I'd like to see it too. The government says, where are you from? She says, I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. The government said, who is this? And shows a picture to her. She says, that's Diddy, Sean Combs. They said, what do you call him? She says, Puff, I work for him as a personal assistant. And then Mia, then as the director of development and acquisitions for Revolt Films, excuse me. And the government says, how was it working there? She said, Puff's mood changed all the time. The government says, was he violent to you? She said, yeah. He's thrown things at me. He's thrown me against the wall, into a pool, ice bucket on my head, slammed my arms into a door, and he sexually assaulted me. They're going to call her a hoe too, right? Everybody's the hoe too, right? They're going to call her a hoe too. Now go ahead and call her a hoe too, right? She says, and he sexually assaulted me. They said, sexually assaulted you more than once? Question mark, says the government. She says, yes, more than once. That nigga going to hell. I told y'all this. Then the government says, did you want to be in the arts? Mia says, yes. This was before social media. I thought if I put my mattress on my car and drove to New York, I could do it. I went to work for Georgina Chapman, red carpet dressing. And then the government says, and then she says assistant to Mike Myers. So that's why Mike Myers' name is coming up. She said she was an assistant of Mike Myers. The government says, how come, how did Diddy hire you? She says, I met with a recruiter. I met with the HR and Tony Bass Fletcher. The government says, did Diddy interview you? She said, he at his apartment, he was on the phone wearing his underwear. The HR lady left. The government says, did he put clothes on? Or did he put on clothes? She said, yes. The government says, did you get the job? She says, yes, I was excited. The government says, how much did you expect to work? She says, a lot, but I didn't fully understand. The government says, how much were you paid? She says, $50,000. The government says, what did you do on your first day? She says, human resources told me I was on trial for 2 weeks. The government says, where did you start? She says, his Alpine, New Jersey house. I was there all day. The government says, then where? She says, back to the office for a few hours more. Then I was told Puff wanted me to come to the studio. The government says, how long were you there? She says, until 1 p.m. the next day. The government then says, then where did you go? She said, I went to Puff's apartment, then his home. The government says, how fast did you have to return? She says, I didn't take a nap. I didn't want to risk it. The government says, how much did you sleep during your first 24 hours of the job? She says, I didn't. I took it as a challenge. Mia says there had been a TV show for a few years before called I Want to Work for Diddy. It was like that. The government says, how did you deal with the lack of sleep? She says, when I was young, I tell myself you could sleep at 3 p.m. Diddy's lawyer, Brian Steele, says, objection. The judge says, sit your ass down, overruled, sucker. Nah, the judge just said overruled. I added the sit your ass down, sucker part in. But the government says, how long did you stay up once? She says, 5 days. She says, I take Adderall extended release. I could Cassie function and stay awake. The government says, when did you go to sleep? She says, my hearing went and my equilibrium was off. Blurred vision, lights that weren't there. I cried, she said. This woman was up for 5 days straight, bro, working for this nigga, bro. Forced labor, bro. He going to prison. I told y'all this. That nigga going to prison forever, bro. How they gonna debunk this witness right here? This victim right here, how they gonna debunk her? They gonna call her a liar too? It's a whole new victim right here. So is they gonna call her a liar too? Is she lying? Is she a hoe? Is she a 304? Is she all this shit them niggas are saying? I'm just asking a question because it's gonna be hard to use that Cassie excuse on every single person that come against this nigga. It's gonna be hard. That's why I keep trying to tell people, man, shit ain't gonna work, bro. So, yeah, man, she said her equilibrium was off. Then the government says, were you then told you could sleep? She said, yeah. They said, by who? She said, by Puff. The government says, why did you stay awake that long? She said, I was working. The government says, I'm introducing exhibits. And the government starts to introduce exhibits of evidence into the court. This is what y'all got to remember. They're not just doing testimony. Shout out to inner city for holding it down. They're entering evidence, physical evidence in court. That's the part people not seeing. So when people say, I don't see no evidence, bitch, you ain't gonna see no fucking evidence. The evidence is being put in court. They're actually giving the evidence and exhibits in court. If you're in the courthouse, you see what's going on. I got people that's in the court that's telling me, bro, they're entering evidence all the time. So the government says these exhibits are under seal. Diddy's lawyer says, Brian Steele says, we renew our objection. Judge says, sit down and shut the hell up. It's admitted under seal. The judge didn't tell him to sit down and shut the hell up. I said that. But the judge said, yeah, it's admitted. Sit down, boy. So the government said, Mia, what's this? She says, a list of my responsibilities. I sent to Tony Fletcher on November the 10th, 2011. Puff has said, I don't know what you do all day. The government said, let's focus on a few things in this document. Please read this, Mia. And then Mia says, all of PD's social media presence. The government said, who is PD? She says, Sean Combs, Puff Daddy. I wrote main liaison between PD and Hollywood. The government says, did you do that? She says BlackBerry 24/7. She says I wrote anticipate his moods. The government says why was that important? She said it dictated the day. The government says you wrote every day is different. She says in that he could ask you to crack his knuckles or do his taxes. The government says, did you have an apartment? She said, yep, in New York. She said she had an apartment in New York. The government says, were you there much? She says, no. My roommates joke they live with a ghost. The government says, in LA, where did you stay? She says, in the staff house, then in Puff's house. And she gave the addresses to Puff's house. You know what I'm saying? She gave different addresses. She said in the staff's house, then in Puff's house, and at 99 whatever blank Beverly Grove, and then blank blank Beverly Crest Drive, and then blank South Mableton. And the government said in Miami, she said at 2-star in Miami. Man, it's about to get it cracking today, man. Man, bro. It's gonna get it cracking today. Did y'all not hear what she said though? She says you wrote every day is different in that he could ask you to crack his knuckles or do his taxes. That's crazy. Did he have this girl cracking her knuckles? His knuckles? That's crazy. And then they said, well, could you leave? She said, only with Puff's permission. Once I left at 2 a.m. after he was asleep and I got in big trouble. They said, what happened? They said, security called me to say he was sending them to find me. It was at the first LA house, 2009 or 2010. Damn. That's crazy. I told y'all, forced labor, nigga going to prison, bro. Yeah, hey, I don't see RICO, man. I don't see RICO, okay? RICO lies. You niggas is telling. Because that nigga's going to prison forever, nigga. Ain't nothing you can do about it. That nigga is a disgrace to human society, nigga. Period. And that's just all there is to it. Yeah, so Diddy could sleep, but everybody else couldn't sleep. Fuck out of here, man. Modern day slavery. Modern day slavery, man. He could sleep, but they couldn't sleep. Crazy work, man. Niggas scumbag. Man, bro. Man, man. Ooh, boy, it's about to get ugly. Trust nobody. Right? Brian Steele wanted to object to her. Nope, you ain't finna object, Brian Steele. You sit your ass down. So the government said, were you allowed to lock your bedroom door? She said, nope. She said, he said, it's my house. No one locks doors in my house. So it really wasn't my room. The government says, but did security get to lock their doors? She said, yep. One had a deadbolt, another a keypad. That's crazy, man. Crazy. Crazy work, bro. Hold on, y'all. Let me look at something. What the fuck? Hold on, y'all. What? Oh, hold on. I gotta find out some information, y'all. I just got something shocking. Hold on. So uh, the government says, or Mia says that one of the security had a deadbolt, the other had a keypad, but she couldn't have a lock on her door. Diddy said, "This is my house, girl. You can't have no lock." And then Mia says that I was told they were actively hiring other assistants. The government says, "How long to Malcolm, the assistant who was there when you started, say? How long did he stay?" She said 7 to 8 months. The government says, "Were you the only one then?" She said, "Yeah, for like a year." That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy. Man, boy, Diddy had these people out here doing slave time, man. So if we put our chart back up here, y'all, and y'all gotta smash the like button, share, and subscribe. And shout out to Deborah in the Cash App coming through with a $50 donation. Salute to you, Deborah. I appreciate it. Shout out to Deborah, y'all. In that Cash App. Y'all want to donate, y'all can click the link pinned at the top of the comment section. You get the Cash App or the PayPal link. Salute to everybody that's tapped in. Um, Let me put the RICO thing back up here, bro. He's out of here, bro. He's out of here, bro. Forced labor, witness tampering, bribery of witness, kidnapping, prostitution, transportation, drug distribution. He's done, bro. Y'all can cancel that. Forced labor. Yeah, he's done, bro. All they gotta have is two. All they gotta have is two. He out of here, nigga. That's all they gotta have. Niggas telling me he gonna beat it. Beat what? Nigga gonna beat his what? His Jimmy Jammy? That's fairy tales, right? So the government asked her, how does she feel having to move from year to year? She says, I didn't have time to feel. It was insane. Puff gave me a pep talk like we were a team. He said, I need a second brain. The government says, did he hire more? She said, yes, eventually, but I still felt like I was responsible. Damn, so they were just moving everywhere, bro. That's crazy work. So they're saying this stuff, man. They're saying this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Oh man, I just got some information, y'all. Man, I just got some information. Man, wow, Wow. Unbelievable. I just got some crazy information, y'all. Damn. I can't tell y'all, but I know who it is. Bro, Diddy was paying these people nothing, bro. Paying this girl $50,000 to work all these hours, man. That's the same thing that other girl was saying, bro. So everybody's stories are lining up. This nigga, that's forced labor like a mofo. That nigga going to prison, man. And niggas talking about they don't see the RICO. Nigga, you better see a RICO, nigga. Nigga, you must be blind. If you can't see RICO, we see it. So that's crazy work, bro. The government says, did you get punished? She says in various ways, getting cursed out, my intelligence was insulted, and my job was threatened. Oh, he's done. That's RICO, bro. He's done, bro. The government says, who did those things? She says, Puff. The government said, who is this? She says, that's George Kaplan. He was another personal assistant for Puff after me. Now remember, George Kaplan already came in and testified against Diddy. Bro, this nigga's out of here, bro. This is another victim, bro. This nigga is out of here, bro. He's out of here, bro. Man, this nigga Diddy, bro. But that's why I told y'all, all these people, they have complicity in their actions because they wanted to be famous so much that they were willing to overlook the abuse, the forced labor, all of those things, just to be able to be in the limelight, man. I mean, bro, that's the definition of selling your soul. People was willing to watch people get abused and not say nothing, willing to help conceal crimes, commit crimes, buy drugs, send drugs to them, take drugs to them, all this stuff because they sold their soul. They wanted to be in that limelight. They wanted to be in that industry, man, and it tears you apart. It completely tears you apart. All right, crazy work, bro. So, when you see this type of stuff, man, it just, it just makes you think, man. Damn, and think about this. Somebody said, "Yo," it says, "Wonder how many other assistants to celebrities are reading this trial and starting to quit their jobs." Man, I'm trying to tell you, bro. Bro, I'm trying to tell you, man. Man, dog. And people are saying, "Hey, man, we gotta stop idolizing these celebrities when this is what they do with their power." That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, you got people out here working as modern day slaves. That's effed up, bro. And then the government asked this woman, "What was Revolt Films?" She says, "Puff and I started that together." The government says, "Were you still performing personal assistant duties?" She said, "Yep." The government says, "How much did you get paid?" She says, 70,000 and then 100,000. There were supposed to be bonuses. She said, "Did you get the bonuses?" The government says, she said, "Nope." Damn. So people busting their ass doing all this work and not even getting the bonuses and stuff you promised them, man. Like I said, scumbag behavior. Shout out to Tanya Hardy in the Cash App, $25 donation. She said, "Salute to you, ticket. Lunch on me, my guy. I appreciate you. Much love to you." And salute. If y'all want to donate, the link pinned at the top of the chat. Cash App, PayPal, show me love. I'm in here cooking. You understand what I'm saying? Clap any clown. Yeah, man. Diddy had these girls on punishment, bro. Bro, that shit crazy, bro. How'd you put grown folks on punishment, bro? That nigga is crazy, man. This man got grown folks on punishment. Mm-hmm. Talking about Diddy was punishing them. Diddy didn't even let these people lock the doors to their room. Doors had to be unlocked. Man, imagine being a woman having to sleep at this man's house and you can't even lock your door. He can just come open the door anytime he wants. That's crazy work, bro. That's crazy work. But then again, these people, again, this is what happens when you sell your soul. You put yourself in these environments and you sell your soul. This is what happens. And this is the reason why you should never sell your soul. It just goes to show everybody. This is the reason why you should never sell your soul. Because once you sell your soul, you can't get it back. Can't get it back. Once you sold that soul, yeah, you can't get that back at all. Hold on one second. And I think everybody know that. Everybody. I think they all know. Hold on one second, y'all. Man. Let me see something. First things to do when you get a new. Yeah, we're gonna get right into this right here.
Right. Never looked at it that way. That's a good way to look at it, man. Congrats to Puffy daughters too. They graduated high school this week, so congrats to them, man, with everything they going through. Shout out to his daughters. You better hope nobody catch them and do them the way he did somebody else's daughter. And trust to believe, there's guys out here that will do that just because they did his daughter. That's how evil, that's how nasty our world could be. Let me ask you this, right? When it comes to Puffy kids, do you think in the back of their mind they wondering if their dad had anything to do with their mom death, Kim Porter? Well, I think that none of them probably witnessed Puff ever putting their hands on Kim because Kim, I think, got to the point where she saw and found her power. I believe Kim found her power, whereas that if Diddy would have put his hands on her after she slit his wrist, she knew he was pussy. This all I had to do? So after she slit his wrist, I believe Kim found her power. Now, Diddy used to rough her up with the pillow fight and everything like that. But I don't think I've never seen him physically put his hands on her. But maybe some of the other bodyguards after me did. But I believe Kim found her power. I don't know if Roger Barnes testified that he saw her put his hand on Kim. But nonetheless, I can't speak for those kids, but with all the information and all the stuff that came out, I would think, and no kids want to think bad about their father, especially somebody who has made it so grandeur in their life. Everything is to the 10th power. They don't want to think bad about their father. But there's a possibility that Quincy may believe what those are his sisters. And those are his brothers. He may not let them know or want them to have that feeling. I'm hearing that a makeup artist, they testified against Diddy. You know anything about that? Well, her plans were that she was with Cassie and Diddy, on a couple of videos. She did a lot of different videos for Kodak Black, Future. Cassie was on and she did them. She even did stuff for Rihanna. So the lady was she was a pronounced makeup artist. She wasn't no bootleg makeup artist, somebody that Cassie found or whatever like that. And she had been knowing Cassie, and she's the one who brought up that she'd been knowing Cassie since she was 16 years old, and Diddy had her eyes on him. It was speculation like that. You understand? Because Cassie was in the modeling thing. I didn't even know Cassie was in the modeling thing at first. She was in New York modeling with the girl Karen that puffed in the head with the hanger and choked her. You understand? She was modeling with her. So that's how I came into the assumption that, okay, Puff was been watching this kid ever since she was 16 years old, whatever like that. So now, she was there when Cassie got her eye bruised up and he beat up pretty bad. And she was the one who called the lawyer, called the doctor, and called one of her friends and stuff like that. Cassie wouldn't let her call the police. She was going to call the police. You understand? So then she was the one who snuck Cassie out of her house, out of the apartment and everything like that, and took her to her house. She stayed in her house for a couple of weeks or whatever like that until they got money up or something like that and they went someplace else so Diddy wouldn't find them. Her testimony was pretty good, and she was the one they were trying to say, well, you didn't see it. She was saying that you didn't see him beat him or like that. Somebody go in a room with somebody, and he leaves in a hurry, and you go right in the room, and she got her lip busted. She busted her lip, blacked her eye. She had knots all over her head, and she's like, what the? Yo. That's just as crazy, man. For dude just to do that little girl like that, bro. And the lady was testifying to that. It was almost like Cassie mama testifying when she took the pictures of the bruises that Cassie had all over her body. It's just certain shit that you just don't do to people, man. Mm-hmm. So she testified that to the abuse, but also testified that the people who was involved, who came to always to clear his stuff from the company. He used his employees to cover up his wrongdoings. KK, D-Rock, George. So that's what she testified to. And she did a great job. Yeah, that's sad, man. Like, if he did all that, man, that's heartbreaking, man. Bro, it's more to come, bro. Because what the prosecution, the defense is trying to do, the defense is trying to, you still got Gina, and the prosecution, the defense was trying to tell the prosecutor, she's not a witness, she's not a witness. They want the prosecution to hurry up to bring Gina in so Gina can paint the picture that everything was consenting because she's been paid off. This is only for people who look like a celebrity. If that's not you, keep on scrolling.
Now,
Seriously, keep scrolling.
now you talking about the celebrity life. This is what these people are living. Celebrity lifestyle. It's all out there, bro. People sell their souls for that lifestyle. And so while people did not want to get hit, beat on, assaulted, and all of these things, when you sell your soul for the celebrity lifestyle, these are the things that come with it. And that's why I said all these people are guilty, man. Whether you're no, and I'm not saying no again, nobody asked to get their ass whooped. Nobody wants that. Shout out to Jimmy to cash that $25 donation. Said speaking facts, so sell it easily, and don't want it back. That's a fact. Because what does this do? Me getting, I'm gonna put yourself in their position. Cassie dealing with the ass whoopings and all that shit by Diddy. What does it still do? Get her at award shows, get her and all these other people in the backstage at events, passes, on TV, on big networks, on all these things. This is something different. See what I'm saying? That these people, so the beatings and shit, people dealt with it was like, they just find ways to recover and come back and keep coming because you're constantly in the spotlight. You're a celebrity. People are looking up to you. People are not seeing all these things that's going on behind the scenes that are just damning. That's the difference right there. So now, when you see this stuff right here, you know what I'm saying? Come back, man. Listen, bro, it's gonna be bad, man. I'm trying to tell you, bro, because now it's gonna expose all these people who watched this stuff, who participated, who knew about it, and who down with the play, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never down with abusing women. Period. Abusing people. You know what I'm saying? Abusing, putting your hands on people who are innocent people that's trying to work, man. You know what I mean? If I put my hands on somebody, it's gonna be on somebody that deserves to get their hands put on them. You know what I'm saying? Ain't gonna be on no person that's weak. Ain't gonna be on no person that's not asking for. Ain't gonna be on no person that or no woman. It's just not how I roll. And it's alarming that you don't have people to speak out. And then especially when women support you. Think about when a lot of women that support these, you know, just support a lot of us in general. You know? It's just sad, man. It really is. You know? So, you hope that things change, but you know how it go. You know what I'm saying? You know how it goes. And Big Gene sat right there, and he let it all fly. Hold on one second, y'all. Now the jury ain't gonna get hung up on that because this was forced labor. The jury's not gonna. He's still breaking the law. The jury's not gonna get hung up on that. You know what I'm saying? He still was assaulting and abusing people. The jury's not gonna get hung up on that. You guys, look at y'all screen. You got to look at the screen, you guys. Look what it says: kidnapping and variations. That's already been proven. That's already been talked about. Then you have arson, bribery of a witness. We've already seen that. Witness tampering. We've already heard about that pre-trial. They got the nigga on it. They got him already on the whatchamacallit for that. Witness tampering. Forced labor. Y'all been hearing about that. It's a wrap. Sex trafficking, prostitution, drug distribution. All that stuff goes into it, man. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I mean, listen, everybody's saying, oh, why ain't nobody else getting punished? They did. They literally took deals. They didn't want to go to court. They literally took deals. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Shondell in the cash app. The donation says, appreciate my simple life more and more. That's a fact. Once you start getting into these circles, you start getting into this weirdo type of shit, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy, man. And y'all wonder why women run around here acting the way they be acting. Because you ain't really got that many niggas that's going to stand up for them. The sisters. And that's crazy work. I ain't talking about hoes. I'm talking about just sisters in general. It's everyday working people that's out here in general. You understand? This dude, Dante, the stylist, he did such a great job. The prosecution said, "Nah, we ain't even gonna call the rest of our witnesses. We done it. We seen enough. Move on to the next victim." Because you know they was gonna call that chef up there. That chef was gonna come up there and bury his ass. Chef Jordan. They probably told her, "Look, we don't even need your testimony at this point. You can go on home. This ain't going to prison." But then again, they may call her for something different. You never know. This nigga did so much. And that's the part nobody will answer. Why ain't nobody up there at that courthouse? Ain't nobody answering that. Why ain't nobody up there at that courthouse? That has to be stated. Why ain't nobody up there at that courthouse? I want y'all to think about that. There ain't nobody up there at that damn courthouse. Bro, I seen one nigga with a free Diddy t-shirt on out there. That shit pitiful, bro. You would think that they would have 100 people, 200, 300 people up there. Not one day. So realistically, Diddy didn't have anybody who really cared about him. People didn't like that nigga for real. They was just there to be there. Get a check and keep it moving. Man, yo. Hold on 1 second, yo. Let me see something. Yeah, there you got Ray J over there on Piers Morgan like a damn fool, man. Man, get his ass off TV, man. Get that nigga off TV. He need to be off TV right now. Something wrong with him. He shouldn't even be. They shouldn't even deem him credible. He should be deemed uncredible. To the point where they said, "Man, we don't even want you to come back in, dog. We don't need nothing from you as far as just your thoughts or anything." You know what I mean? Dog. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff, you guys. Crazy stuff, man. I ain't never seen nothing like it before in my life until you come to this. And you see that Diddy's just doing this to all of his workers. Who does this? Who does it? Make that make sense.
Gene Deal, happy to have you back on the platform, my guy. Man, did I? But it was this particular time that I was bodyguarding this individual, Scott Storch, and we was at Thanksgiving dinner. And he had Gloria Velez that he had gave her a Cartier watch as a gift. So I'm bodyguarding him. And first we was at Kanye West party. This is no bullshit, bro. We was at Kanye West party in North Hollywood. And one of my dudes who, you know, he's a Crip, he came over to me, he said, "Yo, Gene, my dudes is gonna come do something to your man. He's shining like that." I said, well, you know what that means, dog. He said, well, Gene, I'm going to get you 10 minutes to get him out of here. I said, bro, give me 5, and he out of here. So Gloria Velez was with us. So then she gonna say, you gonna let your bodyguard tell you what to do? I'm like, yo, Scott, I'm gone. I'm at the door. So Scott came with me. We went to the Charter House in Malibu from there. So we get to the Charter House. It was me, Scott, friend of mine's named Cree, one of Scott rappers that he was finna put on and everything like that, because he had a thing called Tough Jew Production, and it was Glory Velez. So we started talking about relationships and how older dudes always want younger girls and stuff like that. And she brought up Aaron Hall. So I know Aaron and Kay was cool. So she said, yeah, Aaron, he was, for light of a better words, having sex with me, and I was just 16 years old. So me questioning her, I said, so where did he meet you at? And she said, we met at a club. And I said, when you supposed to be 21 years old in the club? And she said, yeah. I said, so when did he find out that you were 16 years old? She said, we was on the line at the airport in customs.
Bro, this is all crazy, bro. All this shit that's been going on for all these years, bro. Crazy work. But we're back, y'all. So they came back from the break, right? So the government says, and they show an exhibit. They show exhibit GX2A401. And again, they're showing evidence in court. Shout out to Jimmy, $25 donation in the Cash App. He says, when the money gone, nobody cares. Did he earn this? That's a fact. But let me say this to y'all, right? And shout out to Jay Powell for that membership, and shout out to Mrs. Understood with the donation. Says this is a hungry place to be. Or this is the place to be. Chef Ticket about to cook, and she says, and I am hungry. No doubt, sis. Much love to you. And so I'm telling people, like, people don't understand. They're like, oh, they ain't showing no evidence. Fool, the evidence is being shown in court. They got evidence that's in court. That's physical evidence that's being shown. You're not going to see that in a transcript online. You got to be in the courtroom. That's why I got people in the courtroom. Matter of fact, I'm going to have a girl come on tonight or tomorrow to give us another update on what the hell is going on in the courtroom. So the government says Exhibit GX2A401. Who is this? And she says, that's Cassie Ventura. The government says, how did you know of her? She says, working for Puff. We became close friends. They say, you're still friends until today? She said, yep. She says, how close was their relationship? She says, highs and lows, unequal was their relationship. So it sounds like it was just up and down, and it wasn't equal, is what she says. Right? So the government says, was there violence in the relationship? She says, yep. The government says, we'll get back to that. The government says, was Diddy's role with respect to her career? What was his role? She said he decided on everything. Shows, the look. The government says exhibit 3T1, 3T10, 7R1. What is this? She says that this is a mail from Cass to Puff and others, me. So there's some type of mail that was sent. They're showing us in court, in the evidence. Showing it in court in the evidence. We're definitely gonna see. Just trying to tell people though, man, like, man, dog, you know, you know. Straight up. Yeah, what up, everybody? Salute all y'all. I see all y'all in the building. Right?
And it's a disbelief, but you being around Diddy, you knowing him, you think he's capable of raping a female, man? Bruh, he just yo, he's capable of doing what Cassie said he did. Cassie said he raped her. You understand? Against her will. She won a lawsuit that he raped her against her will. You understand what I'm saying? So he's capable of doing a whole lot of stuff. Yo, bro, this ain't nothing new. All this stuff been going on in the industry for a long time. You know, wasn't you didn't it mess with your head up when Aaron Hall said, and he said this years ago, you could ask Jodeci, you could ask Puffy how big my private is. Me and my dudes looked at each other like, what? Them niggas watching each other, huh? Is you serious? Look at the atmosphere that they in. Look what they do. So is he capable? I believe Cassie. Who you believe? I know the girl know if she was raped or not. So when you hear Aaron Hall make comments and say that, you know, Diddy seen how big his penis is, you not surprised by them comments? No, it don't surprise me at all, bro. That don't surprise me at all. You know why it don't surprise me? It's because that's how them dudes get down. They into that each other touchy feelies, and you know they think it's something. You know, it can't surprise me. I done seen them in action as whereas that they going all in a room together. You understand? They all going in a room together. They go in that room. They having their fun. They doing what they do. So nah, it don't surprise me. It surprised me. He said that you could ask them what I'm working with.
That's disgusting, man. Aaron Hall did say that, man. He was sitting up there talking like that. That's the craziest part about it. Aaron Hall was sitting up there talking about, yeah, y'all seen my D? You seen my D? I know y'all seen my D. I was like, man. He was saying it. He was like, Puffy saw it. He seen how big, he seen the size of my D. He seen it. I was just looking like, man, bro, people are disgusting, man. Disgraceful, bro. Dishonorable. That man sat right up there talking about the size of his beefcake, man. He seen it. He seen it. He said, I did it in front of him. Bro, these people nasty as hell, man. Straight up, man. So it goes on, right? So they show him to what he says is a mail from Cassie to Puff and others, including her. It says, when did she send it? And so Mia says she sent it. It was at 4 a.m. It says 7 a.m., but we were in California. It was one of their hotel nights. The government says, what did she write? She says that she was canceling, apologizing to Interscope and others. The government says, what did Diddy respond? Please read. And she wrote what Diddy wrote. Cassie wrote about telling Slevin Hill. I don't know who that is. Slevin Hill, right? And the government says, what does she mean, do you think? And she says, Slevin Hill of BET. Cassie wrote, no support, no show. The government says, why did you forward this to Tony Fletcher? Mia says, I had to keep her informed. She was in charge of booking hotels. Something's going on here. Something's going on here. Something's going on. Salute everybody in the building. Man, bro. Shocking case, man. That's all I can really say, bro. This case, it's gonna have a lot of people just, you know, and all, and all.
Let me.
Yeah, man. Bro, the dude is, he's toast, bro. I don't even know why we wasting our time. He's toast. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Record forcing your employee, using your enterprise and your power at the top to have illegal sex with prostitutes that have crossed state lines. That's called sex trafficking, friends. It's called forced labor. And that, maybe there were some head of an enterprise, could easily be seen as the jury as extortion, coercion, forced labor. All the elements, the racketeering charges that Diddy's fighting. Stylist also testified that on Cassie's 29th birthday, she confided in this stylist that she did not want to participate in Diddy's planned freak-off. After all, it was her birthday, not his. Maybe there were some freak-offs that she enjoyed, and maybe there were some that she did not, but felt she had no choice. For the record, forcing your employee, using your enterprise and your power at the top to have illegal sex with prostitutes that have crossed state lines, that's called sex trafficking, friends. It's called forced labor. And that is what Diddy is charged with in this trial. But this trial has so many people asking the question, what exactly is RICO? Well, technically, RICO stands for Racketeer Influenced Corrupt Organization. And back in the 70s, the feds created it as a means to bring down the mob, like an umbrella charge that bunched all together a whole bunch of different crimes. And that is the same federal law that Diddy's facing now. My next two guests know this law maybe better than anyone and know how hard it is to beat a federal RICO case because they're both former mobsters jailed by the feds for RICO. Michael Francisi was a captain in New York's Colombo crime family. He served 8 years for racketeering and extortion. And Anthony Ruggiano Jr. is the son of a Gambino crime captain who was locked up 4 different times for robbery, gambling, and yes, RICO. Michael and Anthony, welcome to both of you. And Michael, I said Francisi, and I think it's Francis, so I will correct myself before we even get started. Thank you both so much for being here. I have so many questions for you. Let me start with this, and I'm going to open it up to the both of you, but Michael, I'm going to get you to start. For a lot of people, RICO is all about the mob. It's all about what you see on The Sopranos. It's those kinds of crimes. It's not the stuff that they see on tape where Diddy's beating his girlfriend up. But I know that you guys have had a chance to kind of look into this case. You've heard what I just said in the opening of this case. So do you think that this is RICO, or are you scratching your heads? Well, first of all, you can say my name either way, Francis or Francisi, so you're correct. But I will say, the RICO statute was definitely created, I think back in 1970, a fellow by the name of DeBakey created it specifically to go after the mob. No question about that. It's certainly evolved over the years because the government obviously can use the law in any way they see fit. They've gone after Wall Street people with it and a lot of other people. So they'll use it outside of the mob. What's a little bit confusing here is normally there is a criminal enterprise that's involved, a group of people. I had 3 racketeering indictments, 2 federal and 1 state. And in each case, it was the Francis family, the Francis group as part of an enterprise. And I had a lot of co-defendants. I didn't hear the government's opening statement on this to see how they tied this into a racketeering statute, because as far as I know, it's only Diddy on trial, and he's on trial alone. So are they claiming that he is a one-man enterprise? That's what's kind of confusing to me, because the charges against him can certainly stand alone. I don't think they need to be part of a racketeering indictment, but again, I'd have to know what the opening statement was and how they put that theory together that this could be under the RICO statute.
So you know what? I'll throw this in here, and Anthony, you can jump in. From the way I see things, what the prosecutors have tried to determine is that here's Diddy at the top of Bad Boy Records and the enterprise that he's created, the big businesses that he's created. He's got employees that he has, they're paying as security. He's got employees like Cassie, who is supposed to be releasing music. He's got employees like assistants who he tells, you go and set up the free coughs and you go and get my drugs. And, you grab Cassie and bring her to this vacant building and threaten her with a lie detector test. So I think what they're trying to say is that he used his business and he used his corporate card from Bad Boy Enterprises and he used cash from the business plus assistants and employees to carry out a lot of the crimes that they're alleging one after the other, with these witnesses. So if I lay it out that way, Anthony, what do you think? Do you think this lines up with the RICO that you know?
I feel a lot like, I'm struggling with it because...
Now, these is real monsters. I want y'all to think about this. These is real life gangsters who they use the RICO Act for. And they're telling you, hey, look, man, first of all, they about to say, hey, look, that shit Diddy doing with beating women and stuff like that, bro, they'd already X'd him out. That he would have been in the mob. The mob, they don't accept that. Diddy would have already been X'd out just for beating up those women. They would have said that. They said that off the rip. There ain't no way Diddy would have survived that.
My RICO's also, there was co-defendants. I read his indictment. I started reading his indictment today, and his business is the enterprise, and the people that worked for him were part of the conspiracy. So maybe they're unindicted co-conspirators, and they got immunity because, like Michael said, on my indictment, it said the United States of America versus, and then there was 8 names. And we all conspired to commit crimes. Diddy's alone. Who did he conspire with? Did he conspire by himself? Did he extort people? Yes, he did. Did he kidnap people? He held them against his will? Yes, he did. He brought people across state lines, which is a federal offense. But to be a RICO just on him, it's hard for me to understand how that happens.
Yeah, and I do think that, listen, we got weeks and weeks left of just the prosecutor's case, but already we've seen one of the assistants who said he got immunity. And my feeling is that his second in command, Christina Coram, either she's going to plead the fifth or she's going to have been offered immunity or use immunity for her testimony. I do think you're right. It's kind of confusing without the conspirators, but my feeling is that now, to get the testimony against the guy at the top, they may be offering them immunity. But like I said, we still have to find that out. I got this question for you, Michael. I opened the show by saying that I felt sad by sitting through a lot of today's testimony because this stylist, he just went over instance after instance of just vicious beating and control that Diddy had allegedly over Cassie, things he saw firsthand, things that he even tried to step in and stop by jumping on Diddy's back. Blood coming down Cassie's face during one of the beatings that Diddy allegedly turns around and says, look what you all made me do. And I wondered about a guy like that. Now that this is all coming out in the public, if Diddy's convicted, this is not the kind of behavior that I used to hear about with the mob. They beat up and kill guys, but they didn't beat up and kill girls all the time. Do you see a big difference here with the kind of behavior Diddy's accused of doing compared to the behavior of mobsters?
Oh, absolutely. And let me say this. I always take the position, if someone's innocent until proven guilty, that's just my position all the time. However, we have seen certain things. I think everybody has seen the hotel video where he was obviously beating her up, and the testimony has been absolutely despicable. And nobody in my former life would ever approve of something like that. And I think Anthony will vouch for that. We didn't beat up women. We didn't do things like that. We were taught to respect women in a big way, especially our families. So, in our life, if you violated another made man's wife, daughter, sister, mother, you're in a lot of trouble. So we didn't stand for that in any way, shape, or form. And like I said, the acts that are being described here are disgusting, despicable. If somebody like that was in our former life, he wouldn't last, quite honestly. And again, I would love to hear, I believe that the defense is going to attack the RICO statute here. You said, possibly there are witnesses that have been given immunity. Not possibly, 100%. I mean, that's how government builds cases. They go after people, they get them to cooperate, and they give them immunity.
Yep, that's exactly what I told y'all. Happened. Michael Franski's 1,000% on point. That's exactly what they do. They go out, haunt you down, and give them people immunity. That's exactly what they do. And that's exactly what they did in this case. Now let's go on, y'all, and get back to the testimony of what's going on in the court, right? Because check this out, y'all. So Mia says that she says that they asked her, did you ever see Diddy in a movie set? Right? And she says, yeah. Everyone would be very nervous. He would insert himself. The government said, what was his role with respect to Cassie's appearance? She says he was in charge of it. The government says, did you have exposure to Cassie's finances? She said, yep. The government said, how? She says, I learned the company paid her credit cards and that the places where she lived were under his company names and her cars. The government says, did he take things away? She said, yep, cars and jewelry and support if he couldn't get her on the phone. The government says, she said he keep tabs on her through me. Over with. That's racketeering right there. That's racketeering. That's straight up. Bro, they're using another victim to link him to doing these acts to Cassie. So they're showing you how he controlled her. If she didn't listen, okay, I'm taking your cars, I'm taking your phone, I'm taking your jewelry, I'm taking all your support. These are all the things, right? The company paid her credit cards, the places that she lived. He controlled everything about her. So this is control, coercion, force. They're showing all of this right here, bro. It's being laid out in front, and the evidence is being put in the court. Y'all not seeing the evidence being entered because they don't put that in the transcript. But the evidence is being entered in the court, right? And so she said that he kept tabs on Cassie through her. Now the government says, was it part of your job to spend this time with Cassie? She said, yes, I had to do whatever Puff told me to do. The government says, could you, right, go where you wanted? She said, no, we had to be where Puff told us we could be. The government said, and if not, she says something very scary would happen. The punishment was unpredictable, but terrifying. The government says, we'll talk some more about that as we get through your testimony. How would Diddy communicate with Cassie? She says, sometimes through me. The government says, did you see violence? What kind? She said, I saw a lot of aftermaths and injuries she had. I seen him attack her, throw her on the ground. I've seen him like crack her head open. That's crazy, bro. I've seen him chase her, things like that. The government said, did she fight back? She said, nope. The government says, what did you hear and see? She says she heard suitcases being thrown into the foyer. The government says, did you see Cassie after that? She says she was outside crying inside of a bush. She looked terrified. She gestured, I'm hiding. I'm not here. The government said, what did you do? She said, I retreated. Bro, Cassie's hiding in the bushes, man. Bro, this nigga had Cassie hiding in the bushes, bro. This nigga had Cassie hiding in the bushes, bro. What type of scumbag is this nigga, man? The government says, did you tell anyone? Mia says, I think the chef was in the kitchen. The sentiment was like, Brian Steele says, objection. The judge says, sustained. The government says, what did the chef say to you? Brian Steele says, objection. The government says, not for the truth. The judge says, sustained. The government says, what happened in Cassie's apartment? Mia says, we were there. Me, Cassie, and Deontay Nash. The stylist, y'all. The government says, what were you doing? She says, helping her pack for a big trip to London. Puff came banging on the door, very irate. The government said, how did he get in? Mia says, he got in with the key from the front desk. That's crazy, bro. This nigga's on demon time, man. That nigga damn sure was on demon time. Salute everybody. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on. What? Oh, my bad, y'all. Hold on. I'm looking at something. All right. So the government says, what was Diddy asking Cassie? Mia said, he said, have you been drinking or something? She hadn't answered his calls. The government says, what did Diddy do? She says, he came after me and Deontay, screaming. Has she been drinking? He was crazy aggressive. He tried to attack her. Mia says he threw her to the ground. Me and Deontay jumped in, and we tried to stop it. The government said, what did you do? She says Deontay is very small in comparison to Puff. There was a little tornado going on. He had Deontay in a position where I was scared he was going to kill him. Damn. She said in open court, this is the third person talking about killing. Man, that nigga Diddy going to hell, man. Oh, man, bro. You got this many people talking about I mean, I was afraid he was gonna kill. Man, listen, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all, there ain't no Brian Steele can get up here and huff and puff. That shit ain't gonna work, bro. That fake ass shit ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. I think Brian Steele overrated anyways. He just gonna have to get his stuff right. Yeah, man. So now they're saying the government says, uh, the government says, oh, no. Mia says, so Deontay is very small in comparison to Puff. There was a little tornado going on. He had Deontay in a position where I was scared he was gonna kill him. And then the government says, oh no, and then she says, so I jumped on Puff, but he threw me off and against the wall. I felt like I was in slow motion. Damn. She said, I realized we were in big danger. He ran into the bedroom and grabbed Cassie. She said, under his bed is this wood platform. He slammed her head into the corner. Damn, bro. I'd be damned, dog. Bro, that nigga right there, bro. Bro, they gonna like this nigga up forever, bro. And niggas is ignoring all this shit. Like, they ignoring all these savage beatings this nigga putting on people. This nigga done been accused of sexually assaulting multiple women now. All of these things. The government asked, what injuries did Cassie get? Mia said her head was gushing of blood, y'all. Gushing. Shout out to Young World with the donation, $20. Said, for the cook ticket, salute to you. I appreciate it, brother. Appreciate that. Shout out to William Livingston with the donation. Said Puffy had tried to keep his fingerprint off any criminal activity except for hands and feet on Cassie. Nah, not just Cassie. Bro, this nigga was beating up everybody. He was beating up the staff, beating up all the employees. You don't hear these people saying they was getting hit too? They want y'all to think this is domestic violence. This is more than domestic violence. This is abuse. You're beating up your workers. You're beating up people that work for you, bro. That's assault. That ain't domestic violence. If you go to work and whoop somebody's ass, that's not domestic violence, bro. Let's say you're at your job right now. Your boss starts whooping your ass. That's assault. That's not domestic violence, Playboy. That's assault. Shout out to Jimmy in the Cash App $20 donation. He says, seeing my mom abused, this nigga deserves a small cell, man. I'm trying to tell you, bro, that shit crazy, man. So, the government said, what injuries did Cassie get? Mia said her head was gushing of blood. The government said, what did Diddy do? She said he got into protector and survivor mode. He said to call the doctor so-and-so. Tell him Cassie was drunk and hit her head. The government said, why did you do it? She said, because Puff said so. Bro, nigga going to hell, man. I'm trying to tell you niggas, man. Nigga going straight to hell, bro. I'm sorry. He's going to hell, bro. He's going to hell. There ain't no question about this. He's going to hell, bro. Unless he changed his life. You know what I mean? She said that She did it because Puff told her to do it. She said that his eyes were black, and it was like he was looking through her. She said he was like completely. The judge says, let's get to the next question. The government said, did you see Diddy take drugs? She said, yep. The government says, when he was high, how did he appear? She says, sometimes the life of the party or hyper, right? Yeah, you know how Diddy run around? Yeah, love, yeah, love. Yeah, meanwhile, you beating the hell out of people, assaulting people. You understand what I'm saying? Terrorizing people. Terrorize all these people. Got all these people running around here terrorized. That nigga is a demon. Straight up. There ain't no other way around it. He's a demon. Period. Yeah, the judge is really saving Diddy. Because Brian still ain't, he didn't even object. The judge is saving Diddy because the judge stopped her from going deeper than what she was going right there. The judge really saved Diddy by telling her, hey, just move on to the next question. So the government says, where was this? And they show her a photo that's entered into evidence. She says, Ibiza or Burning Man or music conferences. The government says, when he smashed her head, did he seem high? She said, nope. The government said, did you go to Prince's party? She said, yep. The government said, what happened the night before? She says, a big award ceremony, Sweet and the Beverly. Man. Dog, you literally have people that put Diddy with black eyes up there, bro. You literally have people that put Diddy with black eyes up there, bro. That's crazy work, bro. Man. She said Prince performed on a little table. Then I saw Puff come in with his bucket hat. We locked eyes. I thought, oh crap. Cassie just booked it. The government said, where did you go? She says, across the street. There were woods of bushes, but Puff caught Cassie and had her on the ground. Are you serious? Over Prince? Man, bro, this shit is crazy, bro. So they saying that Prince had performed on a little table. Then she said, I saw Puff come in with his bucket hat. We locked eyes. I thought, oh crap. Cassie just booked it. And the government said, where did you go? When she says booked it, that means Cassie dashed off. She got the hell up out of there. She said, where did you go? She says, across the street where there were woods of bushes. But Puff caught Cassie and had her on the ground. Man, that's crazy, bro. Shout out to Daniela. Daniela, salute to you. She says, thanks for the coverage. Shout out to Deontay Lamar, uh, YT channel, please. Okay, salute to you. Shout out to Dante Lamar, YT channel. Salute. Salute to you. Much love. Much love to that channel. Appreciate all y'all, man. That's crazy, bro. So they said Prince was performing on a little table, y'all. She said she see Puff come in with his bucket hat on. They lock eyes and Cassie she books it. Boom. Right for the trees and the bushes, but Puff caught her ass. Dog. Oh shit. This is crazy, y'all. So she says Diddy started to attack her, but Prince's security quickly intervened as Diddy is attacking Cassie. That's crazy. So Prince knew about this shit too? That's crazy, bro. The whole damn industry. A bunch of fucking demons. A bunch of fucking demons. Excuse my language. They a bunch of demons, man. Y'all praise these people. They ain't nothing but a bunch of demons. Go along, get along. They all saw this and ain't say nothing. Crazy work, man. She said Puff started to attack her, but Prince's security quickly intervened. The government said, and later, she said, I went to another hotel. The next day, Human Resources told me that Puff was suspending me without pay. The government says, did she say why? She said that Puff said I was being insubordinate. Bro, this is crazy, bro. Bro, so Prince seen this shit, bro? Prince ain't never said nothing about this, bro. Prince seen this? These people witnessed this. I know he might not have known. They seen it. He right there on the table performing. Everybody watching it. If Prince's security saw it, he saw it. Because his security has been right there. Don't make no excuses. I don't want to hear no excuses, bro. No excuses, man. All these people are bought and paid for. All of them, man. I don't want to hear no excuses, man. They all complicit. Because for these people not to say nothing, they seen this shit. You've heard about Usher. You've heard about what you call it. What's the dude's name? All those people that watch him punch Cassie didn't do nothing. Sat right there. Come on, man. No, you're not hearing me. Everybody's talking about Prince died. I'm talking about when the nigga was alive, nigga. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying? Are you not listening? Do you not understand what I'm saying? You're not listening to what I'm saying to y'all. I'm saying that when this was going on, y'all cap and make excuses for celebrities, bro. Something wrong with y'all. What I'm saying is that during the time that all this stuff was going on, nobody was saying anything. Listen to the words that I'm saying. People were keeping all of this shit private. That's crazy work. You watching the girl get her ass beat, ran up in the bushes, and y'all ain't say nothing? Y'all ain't call this bitch ass nigga out? It ain't just Prince, it's multiple celebrities. Multiple celebrities that witness these type of beatings. Them niggas all cowards in my book. I don't want to hear about they tried to speak up. Ain't no try, nigga. You either did or you didn't. There ain't no in between. These people was letting this shit go on for years, bro. Come on, man. People know what time it is, man. They knew what type of nigga this nigga was. You know how much shit I heard behind the scenes from artists? They know this shit for years, bro. People can tell y'all this. They know this shit for years. You know how many artists talk to me all the time behind the scenes? Man, everybody known about Diddy, man. Don't none of them motherfuckers like Diddy, man. They dealt with Diddy because of his power, nigga. And I'm telling you not what I think. I'm telling you what I know for a fact. Crazy. So it says that the judge wants the lunch break. The jury will leave. He asked how much will the direct be? The government says they're gonna be with her for the rest of the day. And they said they like her off the stand by the end of the week. Diddy's lawyer said this is a problem. First it was a flight, now it was this. The judge says, I have not cut anything. The judge went off on Diddy's lawyer like, bro, you talking shit. I ain't even cut nothing. What is you talking about? Hamburger hog, Nick, what is you talking about? Period. Diddy's lawyer sitting up here crying, and the judge ain't even said nothing yet. The judge ain't said nothing. They want her on the stand for a long time. I can tell you this. They want to keep her on the stand all next week. Diddy's lawyers are getting destroyed, bro. The government says she's going to be on the stand for the rest of the day. They got 3 more hours of questions with this victim. Yeah, she's a victim. She got a lot of shit to say. A lot more shit to say. When did Prince speak up? Somebody got to show me that. When did Prince come out here and call out Diddy? Somebody show me that. Send me the link in the comment section where Prince called out Diddy for that bullshit. Show it to me. I just want y'all to show it to me. All them celebrities, show it to me where Usher showed that he sat up there and witnessed, and he talked about how Diddy punched that girl in the stomach. Come on now. I don't want to hear about nobody thought they didn't want to interfere. This nigga's a demon. You out here beating up on women. You out here fucking doing this shit in public. This nigga Diddy was beating on this girl in front of other celebrities, and people didn't say shit, bro. Y'all, I don't have no ifs and chooses. I don't have no picks on this shit, bro. For real, for real. F all of them. All of them who sat out there and did nothing, the hell with all of them. Period. I don't give a damn who it is. I tell you that right now. I don't give a damn who it is. I don't have no picks and chooses for none of these punks. Because for everybody to sit up there, all these celebrities see this and ain't nobody step to. He says Usher has to be. Usher ain't nowhere near this case. He ain't going to be nowhere near that stand, bro. I don't want to hear about the industry. I'm talking about specific situation, bro. Period. Period. And these people waited all these years. Think about that. People keep saying, oh, he was not quiet. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying, bro. Stop moving the goalposts. If you seen this situation right here, bro, where this nigga is beating this girl in a bush and niggas ain't saying nothing, everybody like, yeah, man, the industry's fucked up. Man, nigga, I don't want to hear that, man. Ain't no pass. I don't get no pass. Ain't no cap in my rap, nigga. Ain't no cap in my rap. I'm letting everybody know this shit. There ain't no cap in my rap. Don't nobody get a pass. Y'all moving the goalposts. Don't nobody get a pass. Just because you like somebody, see, y'all move a goalpost based off who you like. Me, I don't know or care about none of these mofos. I care about what the truth is, and that's point blank, period. And the truth is, if you seen that girl getting beat in the bushes and you seen Diddy doing it, call that bitch ass nigga out. That shit ain't right, man. That shit ain't cool. You ain't in the streets, nigga. You not no street nigga. Those rules are different. Because what happens when you're a big dog and you call out a bitch ass nigga like that? It shines more attention on it to now it stops it from going further and more people getting abused. See, if somebody would have called that shit out early when Diddy was doing that shit, and people would have paid attention, that shit would have stopped a lot of people from getting their lives ruined. Period. Y'all can't have no picks and chooses when it comes to this thing, man. Real talk, bro. Same thing with Usher. I love Usher as an artist. The girl said the nigga sat right there and watched Cassie get punched in the stomach, slumped over, start crying, and get taken out of there. And then him and the other dude didn't do shit. Didn't say nothing. Come on, man. What type of time was? Which motherfucker still gonna go to this concert, hooting and hollering and screaming and let this nigga put cherries down your throat, nigga? Nigga, you should be asking that bitch ass nigga why you ain't do a goddamn thing when that nigga was punching Cassie in the stomach, you bitch ass nigga. You make me want to put my foot on your ass. You make me want to put my foot on your ass. for watching Cassie get punched out. This is what I do. Niggas crazy as hell. The judge says, if we can keep this witness this week, fantastic. It keeps things moving, right? And so the judge says, I have not cut anything. He said, I let Mr. Donaldson take the time he wanted. Diddy's lawyer said, I'm not blaming the court. It's a pattern I'm seeing. The judge said, it's common courtesy. Diddy's lawyer says, I don't know how long Mr. Steele's cross-examination will be. They don't need to put these things on record. The judge says, if we can complete this witness this week, fantastic. If it keeps things moving. The government says, many of our witnesses are flying from across the country. We need to know for flights next week. Monday, Mr. Nash's cross was twice as long as the direct. Man, they got more witnesses flying in, bro. Bro, they flying people in and out of this thing, bro. Man, they got a schedule on this nigga Diddy. They got a schedule on this nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all this. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Again, man, like I said, man, all these people, anybody that's watching this shit, man, like I said, man, you know, I'm telling y'all this. I'm telling y'all this. Right? All right. Just telling y'all what it is. So the government says, Mr. Steele told us he anticipates his cross being an hour and a half or 2 hours and no event longer than direct. Not to hold him to it. The judge says, I want to keep on schedule. Brian Steele says, how late will we be going? The judge says the latest is at 4 p.m. today. Man, they're gonna be with her all day. Yeah, they finna put the cooks on this nigga. If they gonna be questioning her all day, that means they got a whole lot more stuff. Bro, this nigga Diddy's cooked, bro. He cooked, man. Cooked. Yeah, y'all definitely let me know what y'all feeling, man. You know what I'm saying? Bad situation, bro. Bad situation. And I'll be back.
All right, you guys. So we appreciate everybody that popped in, supported this video. Make sure that you guys shop our merch. We got that new A Weapons merchandise right there below this video. All you got to do is look below. The links will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well to get the merch, to donate, support the channel, and subscribe to our podcast show. You'll see all those links pinned at the top of the comment section of this video. And we appreciate everybody that supports this channel and our networks. Also, that straight drop weight loss formula. Go to the website. You guys will see that. A link for that will be pinned at the top of the comment section as well. Go right there for all of your weight loss needs. Straight drop weight loss formula. We have a lot of testimonials on the website. You can go to www.str-8-drop.com and get you some of the weight loss formula today. Take your weight loss serious. Get in the gym, work out, exercise, and do what you got to do to stay on point. We appreciate everybody that's been locked into this video. Again, all the links are pinned at the top of the comment section below. Salute to all of y'all. And again, we appreciate everybody who support what we doing over here.